One of the most unfair truths of life is that the more you want something, the less likely you're going to get it. It's one of life's cruel jokes, but once you understand how this works, you can actually use it to your advantage to get everything you want whilst also becoming the most confident, joyful, and abundant version of yourself. In this video, I'm going to use 3 examples, the 3 things that humans want the most in life, they want the most to improve in, they want more of, but they struggle the most to let go of. And I'm going to teach you, using these 3 examples, exactly how you can attract them in your life, and the principles you learn, you'll be able to apply to everything else you want as well. So the first example is going to be body. So this is if you want to get into better shape, you want to eat cleaner, but you just keep self-sabotaging. Maybe it's been years and years and years where you've been dreaming of getting your dream body, of getting into the best shape of your life, but you just can't seem to do it. You just keep blocking yourself somehow. The second one is going to be purpose. So whether that's your career or just wanting to feel more fulfilled in life, maybe you want to start a business, maybe your soul's calling you to post content, but you just self-sabotage, you get blocked, you get overwhelmed, you get anxiety, you get self-doubt, and you don't go after it, or even if you are going after it, you're still blocking yourself somehow. Then the last one is relationships. So this is if maybe you feel lonely and you're craving a romantic partner, maybe you're craving friendships, maybe you just want to feel more approved of, you just want to be able to walk into a room and feel confident, yet everything you do seems to get you the opposite, or you're just not feeling like you're attracting the right relationships, romantic or friendship, into your life. Now, I want you to really let this lesson sink in, and this is I'm going to use it in the context of getting your dream body, but this is also going to apply to purpose, relationship, and everything else that you want in life, right? So if you really want a better body, if you really want to get fit, you really want to lose weight, you really want to, just get into the best shape of your life, eat cleaner, just feel really good about yourself, right? And your whole day revolves around that. Maybe you go out for food and then you feel guilty about it, right? Maybe you wake up and then you start stressing. You think, I have to go to the gym, otherwise I'm not going to become really fit, right? So what is happening here? This is what is happening here. So if we just erase this. This is you. I hope you can see this, by the way. This is you, and this is the thing that you want. Okay, this is your dream body. This is like the perfect, let's do a star. That's everything that you want, the dream body, whatever, right? So you want it so bad. You wake up, it's all you're thinking about. I have to get fit. I have to get fit. I have to get my dream body. Then I'm going to be accepted. Then I'm going to be approved of. Then I'm going to finally be happy. What's happening? You're thinking all these thoughts, and your thoughts are energy. You have a certain amount of energy every day, right? It can be used. It can be used for really amazing creative purposes if you're in your authentic truth. But if you really, really want something, what you're doing is you're giving all of your energy to that thing. You're sending all of your energy. I want you so bad. I want you so bad. Please come to me. Now, the laws of the universe, this is how things work, right? Think about it. This kind of goes into the relationship. Maybe someone has once really liked you and it's been really obvious from the beginning and you weren't sure about them and they're giving you all of this energy. What do? You kind of get repelled by it. You kind of take it for granted. You just don't really take it, you don't take them seriously, right? So in the same respect, when you really want something and you're giving so much of your energy to it, you're actually repelling it from you, right? Because you're actually operating from a place of lack, and what you're telling the world, the universe, what you're telling energy, because energy doesn't lie, right? You can be like, oh, I really love myself, but really you're saying I'm not good enough because I don't have my dream body, and I will only be good enough and I will only be happy once I have my dream body. So you're actually operating from a place of lack, and you're operating from a place of not being good enough. So this thing that you really want, it can't come to you. It wants to come to you. Everything you want wants to come to you. The universe wants you to have everything that you want, but you're literally repelling it. You're doing the exact opposite. And this is exactly what I've done. So I noticed, I would always hear people talk about the law of detachment, and the more you want something, the less you're going to get it. And I could kind of logically understand, but I just didn't understand how it worked in my life, how I could apply it until I experienced it firsthand. So my whole life, since I was 12, I went on my first run when I was 12. I was a little bit of a chubby kid, and my whole life I've been desperate to try to get into better shape and lose weight, and my self-worth used to be massively tied to my external appearance, right? Now, what happened this year was I realized I lost 5 kg without even trying. I didn't even realize I lost it. I just thought, I stepped on the scale one day after many months and I realized I'd lost it. And then I started to reflect and I thought, I have wanted to lose this 5 kg for so many years. Yet this year I stopped thinking about it. I'm going to go into what else I did. And I lost it. I lost it without even trying. So what did I do and what are the exact action steps you can implement? So for body, there's typically two things, right? There's diet and there's exercise. And look, there's a lot of other factors that are involved, right? Like you could have underlying hormonal imbalances, you could have unresolved trauma. There's a lot of other things, but in general, if you target your diet and exercise, for most of us, we will be able to make a shift in our body, right? So is it the fact that I just stopped trying, I didn't bother about my diet, I didn't bother about my exercise, and I just lost the weight, I just wasn't thinking about it? No, unfortunately, it's not that easy. You do still need to look after yourself. You do still need to put in the work, right? This is just science. It's the way that it works. If you eat cleaner, if you eat in a slight calorie deficit, if you move your body more, you will lose that weight. But you have to change why you're dieting, not dieting, sorry, I don't want to use that term. Why you're choosing to eat cleaner, look after yourself more, and why you're choosing to exercise. Because if your reason for exercising is waking up and thinking, I have to go to the gym, otherwise I'll feel guilty. And it's almost in a way where you're punishing yourself, right? I ate that pizza last night, so I have to go to the gym. Maybe you're looking in the mirror and instead of all you see are things that are wrong with you. All you see are things that you want to change, right? Having a really strict routine. I have to do 10,000 steps a day, being very rigid with it all. So you have to trick your mind because energy doesn't lie. Here's how it works. Energy doesn't lie. If you want to attract all the amazing things that you want, you need to operate from a place of abundance. If you're giving out the energy of lack, you will not be able to attract abundance, right? You will not be able to attract all the things that you want. So that means how do you attract abundance? You have to change your inner world. You have to change your inner thoughts because that will change your energy. And that's the amazing thing about energy, right? Nobody can lie about their energy. Like, yes, you can lie if you're really insecure on the inside, you can pretend to be confident, but your energy will always convey the truth. It will always convey it. And even if we're not that intuitive, even if other people aren't that intuitive, they can subconsciously sense it as well. You can subconsciously sense it when someone is magnetic and confident and like loves themselves, and you can sense it. You will be automatically drawn to those people, right? It's not even just about like how attractive they are. How do you change your energy? You change your inner world. You have to trick your brain into why you're doing these things. So exercise. What happened for me was I knew I wanted to start moving my body more. I knew I wanted to go to the gym more. And what I found was I found different reasons to go apart from trying to get this external result of looking really good, this superficial result, right? So I noticed when I went to the gym and I lifted weights, I slept so good and I felt so good the next day, right? So I started tapping into these different reasons and I just got so excited about going to the gym just so that I could sleep good. And in the same respect, you've got to do the work. You've got to go to the gym. You've got to move your body. But can you find ways of thinking about doing it that isn't about getting this external, superficial result because you don't feel good enough now? But can you find ways to exercise and move, which is centered on abundance? And what does that mean? What does that sound like? What does that look like? I want to move my body because I can, because one day I won't be able to move my body. One day I'll be too old or not alive anymore, because it is such a privilege to have this body that can move. It is such a privilege to be able to go on long walks in nature. It is such a privilege to be able to look after myself. I know it is a fact in life. It is a fact. No one can dispute this, that exercise is a non-negotiable. It is very important and I should always be pushing myself. And I'm just so grateful that I get to move my body because I know it will make my life easier in the long term, because I sweat and I get those endorphins, because it makes my mental health better, because I just love myself so much and I want to do that for me. I know that maybe present me doesn't enjoy it that much, but I'm doing it for future me because I love myself so much. And wow, I sleep so much better. Can you change your inner dialogue to do the things that are good for you because you love yourself, because you're so grateful for even the opportunity, because it is a blessing and a privilege to be able to get up and go to the gym and move your body. It is a blessing and a privilege to be able to go for a long 1 hour walk in nature, to be able to go to a Pilates class, to go do yoga, whatever it is, to be able to strengthen your body, to be able to become more flexible, to be able to do fun things with your friends, like go to dance classes. that's something we take for granted. It's not something we'll always be able to do. If we're lucky enough to live a long life, we won't be able to do those things anymore, right? Well, maybe if you start now and you do it for the next 50 years, you will. Okay, so diet is a really interesting one, and I'm very excited to share this with you guys because it's been truly life-changing for me. And understanding this will just change how you operate in life, right? So what happens with diet, because eating cleaner is actually very simple. Not letting food control you is actually very simple. It's not easy, but it is simple, because here's what happens. You think that you lack discipline. You think that you lack self-control. You think that these foods are just made so addictive and you just can't help yourself. What's actually happening is that there is a void inside of you, and you're literally filling it with food, because what food does is it gives you that dopamine. It gives you that pleasure. But what's actually happening is that your soul is craving something else. There's something missing when food is controlling and you can't, when you live to eat and when you're constantly thinking about food and you can't eat cleaner no matter how hard you want to eat cleaner. Sometimes it's not the fact that you lack discipline. In fact, a lot of the time, it's the fact that there's something missing from your life. It's not that you have a sweet tooth, it's that you don't have enough sweetness in your life, right? So there's something that's draining you and there's taking your energy. It could be a toxic job. It could be a toxic relationship. There's something that is not fulfilling you in life, and that is why food is controlling you. And so when I started to view it like this, it was truly just changed my entire perspective, right? Because if you're going through a period of life where everything in your life is revolving around your next meal and like you can't control yourself, you wake up and you say, I'm not gonna eat that, I'm not gonna eat this, but then you can't help yourself, your soul is craving something. It could be craving most likely purpose, passion, and fulfillment. Okay, so based on everything that we've said, there's gonna be two ways that we address the diet piece of the puzzle in terms of getting everything we want when it comes to getting into better shape. Okay, so it's not just like with the exercise, it's not like you don't have to put in the effort. In fact, you know what you have to do. You know that you probably need to cook more meals at home. You need to spend more time planning and meal prepping. You need to eat more nutritious whole foods, right? You know what you need to do. But we are going to change the script on why we are doing it. So this is the first part. The first part is always changing the script. Okay, so that we can change our inner world, which will change our thoughts, which will change our energy to attract abundance. So we're not operating from a place of lack. So it's no longer, I'm going to eat in this way so that I can get this outcome outside of me. It's going to be changing the script. We're going to be tricking our brain into loving taking care of ourselves, because it is an honor and a privilege to be able to take care of ourselves. And here's the thing, when you do start doing these things, when you do start exercising, it's just about breaking that barrier and getting into that rhythm, getting into the habit. But once you start eating cleaner, cooking more nutritious meals for yourself, looking after yourself a little bit better. It might take a few months to get into good rhythm, but then it will become a habit. It will become easy. Why? Because these things will genuinely make you feel so good about yourself. And it's going to be a lot easier to get there when you're not operating from a place of lack, because when you're operating from a place of, I have to do this, then there will be resistance. So if you operate from a place of, I get to do this, so change from I have to. Don't use this word in your vocabulary when you wake up and you're like, I have to go to the gym, I have to meal prep, I have to cook this. Change it to I get to. Get really, really, really self-aware of when you're using these two terms. Don't use I have to, use I get to. I get to go down to the supermarket and get all this wonderful food. I'm so lucky that it's available to me. I get to cook delicious meals for myself. I get to wake up in the morning and feel really good about myself because I ate well. And this is not at all about trying to be perfect. We're still following the 80-20 rule. And we even want to use it when we do things that aren't maybe part of like the path we had laid out for us in terms of, okay, I want to eat really clean, I want to work out all the time. That's not the point of this. We're operating from a place of abundance. So there's no fear. If we go out and we enjoy a delicious meal with friends, or we get a takeout once a week, there's no fear around that. There's no guilt. There's no, oh my God, now I have to make up for it. I feel really bad about myself. I've ruined all my progress. There's none of that. There's, wow, I'm so lucky that I get to do this. And I know my body's so strong and resilient, and I'm so excited tomorrow to cook a healthy meal, right? So we're changing the script. So we're operating from a place of abundance. And then the second thing, like we already discussed, is we want to fill. This is your cup. if this is relevant for you, if food is controlling you. That was me for a very long time. I had a huge binging and restricting habit. I had unbelievable, uncontrollable sweet cravings. They ruled my life. And now I rarely ever think that I need something sweet. So I know it can be done from firsthand experience, right? And what was missing in my life was fulfillment. What was missing in my life was fulfillment. There was purpose missing. There was connection missing. You know, there's just a lot of things missing. So for you, you have to get really honest with yourself. You know, are you spending all your time indoors by yourself? Maybe you're missing connection. Maybe you need to go put yourself out there. Are you working a job you don't like? Maybe you can't leave it because of money reasons, but can you do something on the side which is going to make you feel more fulfilled, right? So in life, we always want to be trying to fill our cup. We always want to be trying new things. We always want to be challenging ourselves because that is what will align us with our truest and highest purpose. And I promise you that when you are operating from a place of growth and wanting to be better and just very grateful for the place you're in now and all the things you get to do, you will. These things that you want, they will come to you. They will literally come to you if you just focus on fulfilling your cup, increasing your cup, becoming a better version of yourself. These things will come to you. So the next category is purpose. So this is relevant for you if you feel unfulfilled in life. Maybe you want to start posting content. Maybe you want to start a business. Maybe you just want to do something different, but you're feeling blocked and overwhelmed by even the idea of it. And we're going to discuss a nice quick example of what you can do if this sounds a bit like you. And I'm going to use specifically the example of content because these days, that's a thing that can really just change your life. And I know a lot of people who want to do it, but they wouldn't even consider themselves as a content creator because they have these limiting beliefs around not being good enough, not being talented enough, not being pretty enough, having a fear of being seen. So here's how you want to look at your purpose and getting everything you want so you feel the most fulfilled in life, right? The reason you're not going after the things that you want is because you're really attached to the outcome, right? You're really like, I want to start a business and I want it to change my life and I want it to give me financial freedom, or same with the content creator, I want this amazing life where I can travel, whatever it may be. You're very much attached to the outcome, and the outcome, maybe you've not started yet, or maybe you've started and it's really hard, right? So that outcome you want is so far away that it feels extremely overwhelming, and you just start thinking to yourself, the doubt and the anxiety comes in, and you think, how can I do this? How can I do this, right? So I'll be honest with you, the best way to create a side hustle or like create the life of your dreams is to give yourself the opportunity to be able to do it on the side whilst you're earning a secure income. You want to make sure that you're in a secure place financially. So maybe you have your job, maybe you live with your parents, you know, just keeping your costs down low. Then if you are trying to, you know, post content, just trying to build a different life for yourself, we want to shift the narrative in this way. We want to shift the narrative away from me, because you're making it all about you. I'll be honest, you're making it all about you. And we're going to make it, when I say you, I mean you're saying it about other people, right? Because here's what happens. You want the outcome to feel fulfilled because you've achieved this amazing thing in your career. You're in your life purpose, you're in your life path, you're a successful content creator, you have a successful business. That's all about you. You're thinking, this is me, me, me. So there's loads of anxiety, right? When it's all about you, there's anxiety. What if I fail? What if I can't do it? What are people going to think about me, etc. Now, if what you do is you stop making it about you, well, me, and you make it about other people, how can one post that I make help one person? What have I been through? Because a lot of you, I know you have so much knowledge. You have so much to offer the world, and there's people out there right now missing out on it because you're making it all about you. So you have to remember there's people out there who are missing out on your magic. You have to make it about them and say, wow, if I don't do this, there's people out there who will like really, you know, not benefit from the magic from the magic I have to offer the world, from my experiences, from everything that I've learned. So this really helped me when I learned this, and when I started my journey as a content creator, I would make one post and I would say, if this helps even one person, my job is done. And I would literally just tell myself every single post, it's not about the views, it's not about the likes, it's not about the results, it's the fact that I know that I've learned things that have really helped me on my journey, and I know that they can help someone else too, right? So if you are going to make it about you, as well, you just know, hey, this is an amazing journey that I'm going on to build my character, to build my self-image, to keep showing up for myself and to do the things that I said I was going to do. So for purpose, to detach from the result, one of the easiest ways is to take the attention off you. That will remove the anxiety and make it about the people that you're going to be providing value to. Make it about the people that you're going to be helping, because you definitely have so much more to offer than you realize. And just to go back to the example of what happens when we really want something, when you're operating from a place of, I really want to be a content creator, I really want a successful business, I really want to go viral, again, you're giving all your energy to it and you're repelling that thing. It can't come towards you. It literally can't come towards you. And another thing is you're actually operating from a place of, it's not going to be authentic when you're posting, right? You're posting with an attachment of the result. And I know this is easier said than done, but when you operate from a place of, this post is just to help one person, then my job is done, instead of this post is to bring me fame, success, admiration, money, financial freedom, that's a lot of pressure. That's operating from a place of, I don't have any of those things, so I need to do all these things from a place of lack and not feeling good enough to get these things. And again, then you're repelling it. It can't come to you. It literally can't come to you, right? So use this every single time you feel anxious. You know you've got to follow through on the things you said you were going to do, but it's not about you. It's about the people that you're going to be helping by actually doing it. And finally, relationships. This is one of my favorite topics to talk about. This is probably where it's the most relevant, where if you're giving too much energy, you're going to repel it, especially in friendships and with romantic partners. If you're giving someone too much energy, you are 100% operating from a place of lack. You're putting them on a pedestal and they're just going to take you for granted and they're not going to value. And that's not the kind of connections you want in your life, right? So when it comes to relationships, I really want you to ask yourself, what belief systems do I have? Is it, no good men left? Is it, friends are so hard to make in this age? Right, I'm just going to say X. No good men left. Friends are so hard to make. I'm just not a social person. I just don't really like many people. What are the stories that you're telling yourself, right? In life, we always want to remember that these thoughts that we're having, they're just stories. We always want to tell ourselves stories that benefit us. Your brain is very powerful. If you're telling yourself there's no good men left in the world, or men never respect me, or they only want one thing from me, that is what you will attract. I'm sorry. I wish it wasn't that simple. It's just one of life's cruel jokes. And it's also a lie, right? There's lots of good men. There's lots of good women out there. There's lots of respectful, incredible men and women out there. And there's definitely gonna be one out there for you, but you've got to change your belief systems. If it's friends are really hard to make, honey, there's 8 billion people in the world. There's definitely people out there that you are going to form a soul connection with. You don't even know the type of friendships that are going to come your way. But how do we attract these people into our lives? Of course, we need to change our belief system. So when you start saying these things to yourself, catch yourself and change the narrative, script the narrative. Tell yourself the opposite of these things until you start to believe it. But here's the thing about attracting the best partner, the best life partner, the best friendships, the best soul connections. The only way it's possible is if your cup is full, if you are so happy within yourself that you don't even want it. That's the only way it's possible, that you're open to making friendships, you're open to meeting the one, but you're not living day to day wanting it, right? If you're walking on the streets thinking, I really want a friend, of course that's normal. We're social creatures. But if it's really coming from a place of lack where you're feeling very down and then you're going to social events with that needy energy of like, I need to make a friend, I want to make a friend, you are going to repel the right people for you, and you're also going to attract the wrong people for you, right? So there's a reason why empaths attract narcissists. There's a reason why when you don't fully love yourself, you aren't going to have good boundaries and you're going to attract toxic people. You're going to let people disrespect you because you're putting them on a pedestal. So you have to ask yourself, why is there a lack in you? Why is there a lack in you that you're trying to fulfill from someone outside of you? Like, why are you trying to get love from someone outside of you when you could be giving yourself that love? And when you learn that and you start giving yourself that love, and I'm going to tell you how to do that, when you start giving yourself that love, that is when you're going to attract the most authentic soul connection. So in terms of relationships, the focus needs to be taken away from the relationships, right? You actually genuinely have to be like, the only relationship, if you feel like there's a lack of them, the only relationship you need to work on is the one with yourself, as cliche as that sounds. And so how do we do this? And unfortunately, the only way to attract the best connections is to do really hard things that are good for you, right? You need to do really hard things that are good for you and constantly be putting yourself out there and trying new things and challenging yourself and growing yourself as a person, because that is what's going to grow you, grow your confidence. That's what's going to grow your self-image. That's what's going to create a real love for yourself. That's how you create respect and love for yourself. And when you love and respect yourself because you've done so many hard things that are good for you, instead of leaning into the pain and the quick comfort and the cheap dopamine, you've continuously done things that are hard for you. You've continuously taken good care of yourself. You've challenged yourself and you've gone to social events, even if you're anxious. You know, you've just constantly put yourself out there, try to learn new hobbies, continuously showed up to a class even though you weren't that good at it. Then you're going to have a love and respect for yourself, where you're going to know, I've done so much for myself. I'm my number one fan. I'm not out here desperate for anybody else's validation or respect, because I know what I've done for me and I don't need it from anybody else. But when you're operating from that kind of place, of course, this isn't a case of I don't need anybody. You're still going to be out there. You're still going to be social, meeting people, but you're not going to be desperate for their validation or for their approval or for them to want to spend time with you or for them to become your new best friend. In fact, it will just happen naturally. You have no idea how easily it's going to happen, and you're not even going to expect it. So to wrap up relationships, if you feel like there's a lack of them in your life, that is a signal, that is a mirror, right? Everything is a mirror back to us. If you're wanting something from someone else, you've got to give it to yourself first. And a lot of the time, the truth is that means doing hard things that we're putting off that we know we need to do. You know, what is that thing that you're putting off, that your soul, that your mind has been calling you to do, maybe for months, maybe for years, that you keep putting off? Can you go do that for yourself? Can you go show up for yourself? Can you keep doing that? This is how you're going to operate from a place of abundance, because you're going to create so much love for yourself. You're not going to be operating from a place of lack and insecurity. That's exactly the journey I've been on. That's how I've learned these things. I used to operate from the biggest place of lack, insecurity, not feeling good enough, being a people pleaser, constantly looking for approval outside of myself. So I get it. I was there for many, many years. But I promise you, if you just keep working on yourself and you keep changing those inner thoughts, that inner world, just keep working on the energy that you're putting out there, giving yourself love, giving yourself the love that you know that you need, then you're going to attract everything that you want, probably when you least expect it. So I hope that was helpful. And if you're on this journey, then I believe in you. I'm excited for you, and I'll see you in the next video.